Hello and welcome to Ask the Accountant, part of the Ask the Accountant Network, a podcast network for accountants, bookkeepers, supported by our amazing Patreon community. Speaking of which, we start each and every show with a shout out to our coolest of cool listeners, who are Paul Whitehouse, Kirsty St. John, Mahu, and Peter Richardson. A big round of applause to all of them. To show your support for our channel and content, while also getting some bonus content and an opportunity to be part of this coveted list, join our Patreon page via the links below. This is episode number 178. The date is the 30th of March 2026, and it's a very warm welcome to Ask the Accountant. Mr. Johann Gorey, how has your week/weekend been? Good one.
Yeah. Yeah, productive. Not bad at all. Good racing this weekend, so I enjoyed that. 6 o'clock in the morning was a bit more civilized time to be getting up. Not much more, but a bit more civilized.
Time for the 6 though.
Well, no, but yeah, I did wake up yesterday feeling that I'd been robbed of an hour of my life. To which my wife pointed out, yes, but you'll get it back in autumn. It's like, yeah, but I don't get interest on that. If anything, it depreciates by that point. And then there's the classic, isn't there, of, right, which clocks have updated themselves and which ones haven't? Okay, yeah. Can anyone remember how to update the cooker clock?
And when do you actually use the cooker clock?
Well, you know, it does my head in when it just flashes 0. So yes, we have actually got it set properly. So yeah, it's just the usual spring clocks jumping forward shenanigans, really. But yeah, no, I had a relatively chilled weekend. Saturday morning was very much in the zone quite early on because I watched the qualifying. Then some ideas came to me for route to growth, so I was brainstorming and working with my new best friend Claude AI to draw up some designs and stuff for some new products and services we're spinning off there. So yeah, all good though. All good. How was your weekend? I think you were out and about again, weren't you?
Yeah. Do we need to do a public apology corner? Because you did tell Alexis that Claude was rubbish, and why is he using it?
Back then, it was rubbish.
I'm just saying. That's all I'm saying. You know, maybe this is apology corner.
I thought Engager put out regular updates. Christ.
Right. Yeah.
Claude in the last month has released 72 new feature updates and improvements. It's just phenomenal.
It's making GPT look like it's done on Steam Engine, isn't it?
Yeah. So yeah, I am gradually using Claude more and more now. Yeah. The only bits I'm not using properly, like you and I were discussing offline, was Claude Co-work, because the security is not there for it yet. But Claude Chat is phenomenal. So yeah. No, although there's still quite a few times I default to Chat GPT just because it's easier than using Claude.
Yeah, so. Billy did a really good article on how to jump between how to download your persona from one and stick them into the other. Yep. So yeah, highly recommend going and looking at that one. My weekend. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm flagging, and it's Monday, right? So first of all, we had this whole clock going forward malark, which, like you said, you say it's 6 o'clock, but really, what was it? 4:30 in the morning. Well, 4:30 if you wanted to get up and watch the pre-show. Yeah. Right? So you're talking 4:30 in the morning. Get that done. Then we go out, we take the puppy for a wander, all that sort of stuff. And then I headed off to London for a filming. I went and to do a really enjoying this. And if anyone gets a chance, do have a look at it. But a live studio filming of TV shows. So we did Buzzcocks not long ago. Got kind of names down for some other ones that we've got coming up. But this one was a brand new show called Unacceptable, which the way I've been sold it's basically Mock of the Week but less woke. Which actually, you know, we said off air that there's probably a hidden agenda behind that one. But anyway, cool little show. Ed Gamble, Richard Idiodi, and there was some other really, really good, like, there's people there and all that sort of stuff. My favorite part of that though is that Ed noticed my shirt. So for anyone who doesn't know, I'm wearing my
And asked you to leave.
yeah, you're allowed to promote it in this show. We're on national television, for Christ's sake. Get out. No, but his podcast, the Off Menu podcast shirt, so he noticed it and everything else. So that was cool. The only problem was, by the time we got home, it was like 1:30, 1:45 in the morning, and up again at the crack of dawn for work, all that sort of stuff. And I've got a really busy week this week. We're off to London tomorrow, do some filming, and then there's also an opportunity to go. Well, we're going to the Sage HQ to do some podcast of Sage Savvy there, so that'll be good fun. And then I'm doing some old school traditional networking on Thursday. The problem with that networking is I'm in London on the Wednesday. The networking is in Leeds. So,
All right, direct train.
mm,
LNER, you'll be fine.
well, that's exactly what I was going to do, and I was looking forward to finally getting to go on it. Because also, probably too much information, but just so everyone's aware, it's a lot cheaper to get an open return if you go from the same place and come back again, right? Like, that's just a fact. And Chrissy's going to have to be up in Leeds anyway, so I'm going from tomorrow morning at like 5:30 in the morning, whatever time we get up, to Leeds, to then jump on a train to go to London, so that then I can get the open return back to it, so I can make this networking, right? So I'm not just going to London, I'm going via Leeds. So anyway, but LNER, every train is sold out.
It's Easter holidays.
So I'm going on, is it the Grand Central? And
Oh, okay.
Right.
I've not done Grand Central.
I don't think I want to either. Maybe we should do on the bonus show. We should rank the trains, which ones we like and which ones we don't, purely from a work and productivity point of view,
Yes.
and the quality of their breakfast. I think that's a good sign on how good these are. But anyway, we digress. We are already 8 minutes in, and we haven't even spoken about the most important part of the episode, which is our wonderful community. We've got Cheryl CPS Bookkeeping. Good morning. It's raining, but at least the wind has died down for night. Yeah, the wind was horrific yesterday. Yeah, we were right by the Thames. So we were watching people literally struggling to walk past the studio that we were in. It was mental. Kirsty St. John says, good morning, everyone. Start of Easter holidays. My son is home from uni and staying nocturne. I love that. That's a very wholesome part. That's the best bit about things like Easter and stuff, isn't it? When family gets back together, etc., etc. Good morning from London, says Mahul. I hope everyone had a great week, and I hope you had a great week too. Natasha says, morning all. By the way, go and watch the grid walk. I always bias and say, it's our best grid walk ever. But this one was very, very good. And we had Natasha joining us on the grid walk itself. Was it her debut for grid walk? I believe it was. So yeah, go and watch the grid walk and see Natasha on there. Paul Whitehouse says, good morning to you, Paul. Hope you're doing well. Susanna Whelan says, morning. And Suzanne Su Bookkeeping says, morning, all from sunny Hanley on Thames. I assume that's near London. On Thames gives me that thing. Henley on Thames sounds like it's from London, doesn't it? So hopefully you weren't blown away. Clive Hand, QuickBooks accountant, says, good morning, chaps. All of the kids off for Easter. Send help. Well, it's a good time. If everyone enjoyed the Easter. In fact, actually, we should make note. We will be live this time next week for Easter, but it won't be our normal show. We've got a pre-recorded show we did from Fab. So it was me and Timothy sat down and talked all things Fab, if my memory relates. But it's a show. It'll be live. It'll go live at this time next week. But no, we'll be having time away from the microphones, won't we?
Yeah, you've got to go and eat a lot of Easter eggs, and I've got to take the wife to Barcelona to celebrate her 40th birthday.
Does she know that yet?
Yeah. Okay. I got so fed up with the questions. I just put it in the diary, Claire's birthday trip for a long,
Yeah.
and it's just a long weekend. I thought, you know what, we'll go back to what we used to do when we were dating, of having city breaks, like a
Yeah,
long
yeah, yeah.
weekend. When we were dating originally, we lived apart from each other, so I'd go, right, let's go and have a long weekend in Rome or something like that. Not done it in absolutely ages. So I put in the diary, Claire's birthday trip.
Love that.
And then that was it, bombardment of messages and questions. And it's like, you know what, I give up. I'm just going to tell you.
You brought it on yourself.
Yeah.
You ruined your own.
Are we going abroad? Well, I mean, technically, you class England as abroad. So are we crossing a border? Well, technically, you think there is a border between England and Scotland. So technically, yes. But it could be England. It could be Wales. It could, you know. I got, yeah, that note, right. Let's just organise. Let's just say.
Love that. And to be fair, Barcelona is a really nice part. Apart from last time I went to Barcelona, you know, the at the top there's that Colosseum area. We went to watch a gig up there. It was Ed Sheeran, I believe it was, something along those lines. And then on the way back, Chrissy says that I slipped, but I still believe that she pushed. I ended up going down the mountain. Ended up in A&E with my ankles strapped up. Very similar to what happened when I went to Guernsey. So I feel like every time I go off
Although
these
she
shores,
wasn't at Guernsey, was she? To push you.
no, but I believe there's a conspiracy theory that somehow she got someone to push me at some point. But
bit of bribery, yeah.
yeah, Tim. He, he's one to be bribed. Suzanne says, enjoy your family time. Kirsty, yeah, enjoy it. Juliet McKenna says, morning all, good morning to you too. Karen Waters says, good morning from sunny Devon. Oh, well, at least one area in the UK has got sunshine. Yeah,
blue skies and sunshine here.
Is it though?
Like
is
-12, but it's blue skies and sunshine.
Reflecting off the snow that's on the floor. And Chris says, St. John says, oh yeah, you'll get to see Familiar nearly finished. Yeah, it is almost finished, isn't it?
It is almost finished, but they've also sold out of tickets that weekend because it's Easter weekend. So it's obviously going to be busy with religious services and stuff. So we won't be able to go in, but yes, we will be able to see it.
Jump on the bus though. You just that's what we did. We watched it.
What we normally do is a city tour bus.
Yeah. Love that. Yeah. And you know what? It's like it's just the same as being in there, right?
Yeah.
Keep telling myself that. I got a photo. What more do I want? Yeah. All right, everybody, let's go through some topics for today. Well, public service announcement to start with. Online Companies House and HMRC joint filing tool turns off tomorrow. Oh, this is where I regret evergreen content. I've got a piece of content out there that is how to file your Companies House and HMRC via QuickBooks using their free online tool. Well, Companies House free online tool. Do you think I should unlist that video?
Your content ages so well. Like some people's content, it ages like a good wine or a good whiskey, and the longer you leave it, the better it gets. Other people's content turns sour, bitter, and resentful. And yours is definitely in that area right now.
It's that camp at the moment, isn't it? It is that camp at the moment. Oh, yeah. And it's a difficult one, right? Because there are so many solutions out there that they could go to and look at, but they still like their expectation is, and when I say their, sorry, like clients or not even clients at this point, right? But small business owners who want to do this themselves. Obviously, there's a market for Companies House and HMRC joint filing tool. I think a few accountants and bookkeepers were using it, but there were very few, right? Most people had navigated to some form of software to submit. We all know the dangers and risks of using these solutions. And I feel like a lot of accountants, bookkeepers, especially everyone that listens to this, will have some form of solution. And, you know, what camp you're in? Is it tax filer, tax calc? Is it tax?
Someone at Fab, 1,300 tax returns, and they still use HMRC.
Oh, no.
Self-assessment filing solution. It's like, A, you won't be next year. B, are you mental?
Yeah.
Did they let you out of a padded cell? Because you know how much time it's free. So, yes, but you can only do a quarter of the tax returns in the same time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, your time in yeah, oh crikey. Ouch. I thought those days were long gone from that. But yeah, there's still definitely accountants and bookkeepers out there using it for online filing, etc. etc. But also I think mostly this affects the clients who don't have or the businesses who don't have a accountant or bookkeeper attached to them, isn't it?
The unserved, as they're now dubbed.
Unserved. Yeah, exactly.
Now, what's interesting is I think this is gonna generate more inquiries for accountants and bookkeepers than MTD it will this year.
Yeah, and we keep going back to this whole meat on the bone, right? Like the meat on the
Yep.
bone, meat on the bone, meat on the bone. You've got more meat on the
There's
bone
meat
on
on
one of
bone on
these.
this.
Yeah, 100%, right? Like, yeah, and I just don't know what the best solution to tell people would be. I know it shouldn't be our job, right? Like, but we should also have a way of telling people what to use if we're not going to, right? Like that content I did really, really well. It's one of my best performing videos, still is, and it's a great lead generation, right?
Or even
But I
compared to
feel
the video of turning QuickBooks turns off sole trader.
yeah,
Is
it's
that
yeah, overall, it's definitely a stronger video. But yeah, yeah, I mean that could catch up one day. Hopefully not. Hopefully it's a very flash in the pan situation, but we'll see. But this one should be evergreen. Should have kind of had a long tail to it. All that sort of good stuff. It's like that perfect video that you want to get out there, and
yep.
it's ironic really because it's like the worst thumbnail I've ever done, probably. I think I did it in PowerPoint or something daft. Not a great catchy title either, but did enough to hit those algorithms. I
Yeah.
think you had a similar one, didn't you, with a national insurance
Yeah.
update back in the day? You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
that sort of video where, yeah, you don't expect it to bang, but it does bang, right?
Yeah.
And I've been kind of thinking about, well, what's my follow up to this? How do I solve this? And what should I be doing to do? I generally don't know the answer. Free agent's a great shout, but there's kind of I'm still a little bit confused about does the client get access if we're not accountants or do they not, and all that sort of stuff. Like there's always that kind of haziness, isn't it? QuickBooks, for example, there is no option for the client to do it themselves, right? Like that's not an option. Zero is the same, right? Zero is not an option for the
Yeah.
client to do it themselves. Um, and there's just this what you and TaxCalc has a direct to consumer model, don't they? It's
Yep.
not talked about very often, but there is an option there that they could kind of
Yep.
download, go through that and everything else. There's options out there, but I feel like it's different. And I'm surprised that your Nomis and your KPMs and those ones haven't kind of jumped on this to me, like they've got their pie and they're doing okay, and hopefully they're doing enough to be sustainable. That's what we hope for them, right? But MTD was a big opportunity. Like you said, this should have been even bigger opportunity for them, right?
Yeah.
Having that solution out there to go to direct to consumer and stuff like that. I know accountants and bookkeepers will be up in arms and they'll be like this picket fence and all this and that, but I think we've got to stop. Like we've got to stop trying to
You've got to
like
accept the
gatekeep.
unserved don't want to be served.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And that what the opportunity can be for us is we can be connected in some light touch way, right? Maybe we resell the software to them, like something as simple as that, to be that little bit of breadcrumb that, if they do need a hand, if they do need a help, if it all becomes too complicated for them, you want to be the one that they turn to, right? Then you start like helping them and then you start going through from there. Yeah, it's just interesting, isn't it? That it doesn't seem to be a solution out there that really we can easily recommend and easily simplify, apart from maybe free agent. But I'm a little unless you know the answers. I'm a little bit like, well, from a direct consumer point of view, what do they have access to, what they don't? I know free agent were very kind of they wanted to be protective, right? So it was very much they wanted to give options, like you can turn features on, turn features off. I know that's part and parcel of their whole package, isn't it? But I don't
I
know
don't
to
know.
the extent.
Yeah. Yeah, no, as I say, I think this is the opportunity for us to get a bigger chunk of the unserved. My only concern is, do you want that chunk of the unserved? Because are they just using you because they're bitter and spiteful that HMRC have changed the rules on them? Like, of course you thank the fire brigade that have just put the fire out in your house, but you don't hope to see them again, do you? Like, you thank your dentist, but you don't look forward to the appointment in a year's time. You you ideally hope you don't need to go and see them again for a while.
Yeah.
And I feel by HMRC turning off features like filing corporation tax returns via their website service, we're just going to have an influx of ungrateful new clients who
Like you said,
resent using us, resent paying us, and are doing it purely because it's a means to an end and they've been forced to do it. So is that the kind of client base you want? I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it feel like the red light coming up here. I feel like I'm on a Starship Enterprise, and we're on red alert at this point, and it feels that way, doesn't it? Right? Like we are going to get people asking the questions, and I think our spider senses are well, at least I hope so from the community that we can kind of see those red flags before they become a problem, because I feel like that's exactly what this is going to be, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're going to be red flags there, and we've just got to find ways to deal with those red flags or say no, sorry, like that. You're not you weren't my ideal client before. You're certainly not now. Now you're going to be even, now it's, there's a gun to your head and you're forced to do it. You know what I mean? Like, I think that this is where we've got to be more, brave in terms of who do we accept, who we don't accept, when it comes to doing from there. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, but kudos to the FMS solutions though, right? They saw MTD as this big push, as we were talking about last week, right? And the big opportunity, and there was, various levels of who really went for it and who didn't, right? Like we've seen that, and that's HMRC burning them most of the time, right? And we've seen kind of their approach to filing in product, all that sort of stuff and everything else. It's interesting none of them saw this as a big opportunity to like grab a load more clients and load more, because this could easily have been a really like easy win. They just, whatever solution they have for their accountants, they just turn on for the end user. They could have easily have like been the choice for these sort of things, right? Kudos for them for not going down that route.
Yeah.
Thanks for the enthusiasm.
I think it was kudos for them not going down that route, but for the unserved, they're going to be very let down by that. So
they are, but yeah.
And
but I think it's about
HMRC was probably banking on them to go down that route so that they could have multiple options of filing, etc.
But isn't this that whole, we're a partner, not a partner?
Yeah.
Accountants, bookkeepers, they could have easily have caved, because this could be a nice, easy way to increase subscriptions, right? Short term, obviously, and they would have sullied the relationship with the accountants and bookkeeper community. Yeah, but there was an opportunity for them, and it seems like they've chosen not to, which, fair play.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, sad times going. You wrote late payment rules are changing as well. What we talking about?
Yeah, so the government have actually done something in small businesses' interest.
Oh yes.
So last week, the government announced a load of new rules that they're in consultation about, where they're making late payments, and basically they've set out the percentage. It's 8% plus on top of inflation, and they've said you can charge it from day one and stuff like that, which is quite, if it pushes us to all be better payers, then that's a good thing, especially the big boys that are paying and using smaller businesses. And there's loads of stats and figures out there of how many businesses fail every year due to cash flow, and how many jobs would have been protected if payments were made on time and stuff like that, which was all interesting reading. But yeah, it's just something to be aware of as an industry. This is going to be a hot topic. Admin have already announced and are launching this week into next various new features for testing for late payments, which will basically, the moment your invoice is overdue, it can auto calculate interest on a daily basis and post that back to QuickBooks or Xero once the payment's been made.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's going to be phenomenal. I mean, every accountant and bookkeeper should have a late payments clause in their terms and conditions. Engage has been putting it in there for them for years. Since day one, we've always given you the option to select your percentage, and the wording has always been it's this percentage on top of the inflation rate or the bank rate or whatever it is. So yeah, very, very interesting to see the government is picking this up and making it a lot more official, basically, because it's always been a bit slapdash, a bit, yeah, you can do it if you want to, and people have questioned it. And whereas when you've got some official backing, you kind of get on with it. So yeah, no, I'm very pleased with that update, and great to see Adfin jumping on this straight away and releasing features within a matter of days and weeks to support that.
Definitely, 100%. This was always one where I went to. It must have been last year now. I went to Parliament, and it was one of those, events inside Parliament, and it was all about late payments, and it's all about like supporting everything else. And it was one of those where you kind of feel like you, you there's a lot of chatter about it, and there was a lot of like conversations around it, but it was like, well, what actually are they going to do about this? You know what I mean? Like, you're
Yep.
always that skeptical, aren't you, at these sort of events that, oh yeah, it's great that you're trying to raise awareness, but is that all you're doing? Is it just awareness that we're raising
We're
here?
just talking about this, or we're actually going to take some action.
Exactly right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So absolute kudos that there is now actually officially that
Yeah.
there, and it's a service offering that, as accountants and bookkeepers, we can help our clients. Like, this is a business advisory element to it, right? There is opportunity for us to not only, again, like you said, like make sure our engaged, but lead by example, right? And I've had that conversation with clients before where they've got late payments and everything else, and I've been like, well, you've read our T's and T's, right? You've read our engagement letter, right? And most of the time, sometimes it's like, no, but and I'm like, well, you should do, because there is this whole element here, of of if we lead by example and showcase that we're using the tools of the trade like Engager and whatever solution you use and Collect, it goes from here. It elevates, and it gives you that platform to talk to the clients and go, right, well, we're doing it to you, so you should be doing it to your, customers and everything else. And I think that's like a real. We've got this. There's a fear factor, isn't there? What is business advisory, and how do we deliver it, and all this and the other. When really the best thing we should ever do is just talk about the same business problems and issues that we're having to face, right? And if we
Yep.
can then advise our clients on the same problems, same issues, and give them advice, it gives us a platform to talk about it with authority, because we're there, we're living it, we're breathing it. Do you know what I mean? And go from there. And I also feel like this is one of the benefits of MTD going forward, right? If we're going to get more of our clients onto more digital platforms, then late payments and all this, that, look, the other becomes so much easier to do. I'm not 100% sure how legally binding what's it called? A duplicate book. If someone's late to pay me a duplicate book, like how's that gonna be done? What do I do? Send another duplicate book now with the interest on it and send it each month going forward until we finally get paid? Do you know what I mean? Like at least if we're MTD and we're pushing people onto software, they're going to have tools like Adfin out there that's going to be able to help them like make this easier going forward. So I really, 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 really like this approach. I think it's a great opportunity for them. People like Adfin jumping on it is what we love to see. Like, let's see them like innovate, like help, because then it makes it easier for us to tell clients, have you considered using this piece of software? Look how cool it is. It's like helping you get late payments, and putting that interest on is a great um a feature to help people move over to platforms, stuff like that. And when you talk about payment platforms, is all you need, those crumbs of benefits, don't you? You need that reason to move over. So I think this could definitely be high up there.
Definitely. Yeah, no, I think it's a really positive move in the right direction. So,
100%.
yeah, happy about that.
Paul, Paul says most clients I have on Free Agent aren't actually using it. They just process through their banking app. So back to the comment about letting your
Isn't that
client.
what that's what we were discussing about last week? That is the goal. Like, do you want your clients in the whole app, or actually is in by getting them to categorize in the banking app, is that enough to help us out and protect the rest of the integrity of the books from them making a mess?
Yeah,
Like, I think
100%.
that's the dream solution.
But then they're still on a platform like Free Agent that
Yeah.
when we have late payment whizziness coming through, they're going to be able to activate it and we can help them and advise them and bring
When
it
we
in.
need
But
to do accounts and tax returns, we can do that.
yeah, but we look like wizards, right? Like they're just using their banking app, and we're helping them apply mandatory late payment penalties, and that's where these DIY clients we can add maybe bolt-on services for them to make them go, you know what, these guys are actually worth. They're adding value now, right? I can see why people are paying for accountant slash bookkeeper and not just doing it themselves. Yeah, I let's pass them more work because what more work can they help me with my business, right? And it's things like this, isn't it, where we're almost like smoke and mirrors. We're providing that service when all they're doing is dealing with the bank, isn't it? And that's the
Yeah,
dream. Free
definitely.
agent. Stuart Hurd from Free Agent says, from a free agent perspective, small businesses can directly have access to all filing options available. So there we are, we have clarity.
Yeah,
We give the accountant bookkeeping choice on what a client can access, but we have a number of unpresented, they call it unpresented, not unserved, clients filing already. That's great to hear. So I think that's becomes
there we go.
almost a default choice, right? Like if you've got a client who's because we're hello at Bofix is inundated with these sort of questions at the moment, right? Like all these sort of stuff, mainly because of the video, right? But we're all going to get it. We're all going to get these inquiries, and like we said, there's some of them where they'll be worthwhile us taking them on as clients, but there'll be others where they're not going to be worthwhile. And if they're not, we want to at least give them something, right? And I think free
Yeah,
agent seems like the right choice for them.
yeah. Just by going, look, I appreciate you don't want our services, but our advice would be to use this tool. You've just delivered value.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
And hopefully, like we said, when they, if and when or, if they ever need some sort of advice or anything, they there's an opportunity there for them repay that advice back
Yeah,
to you by coming back to you, right?
literally, someone contacted me last weekend out of the blue. Last time I spoke to that person was at a networking event pre-COVID.
Yeah,
It'd
yeah,
been 6 years, and he contacted me saying, "Johan, you gave me some advice years ago. I've now set up a business and stuff. Can I have a quote for your services?"
yeah,
Like in 6 years, he's finally come back to me because he didn't do anything for 6 years. And it's like, yes. Like,
yeah, exactly.
yeah, like you just don't know when people are gonna come back round. So,
Yeah, and a bit of kindness, a bit of help, a bit
yeah,
of pushing them in the right direction goes a long way, right? And if they're
ex
already on a product like Free Agent, they're a nice, easy client to take over, right? Like that's
exactly.
if they came back with just 2 boxes of information and we're then having to clean all that up, then it becomes a different conversation, different everything else, right? So, yeah, it feels like this is making tax digital for the unserved limited companies as well, isn't it? Alrighty then. Next topic of conversation. We are going to talk. In fact, let's talk about this one first. Zero announces a partnership with Claude AI, and typical accountants and bookkeepers approach to this, or say typical, like not our community, because our community I know, see things in a better light, but you're kind of your mainstream accountant and bookkeeping community, especially the ones on LinkedIn, saw this as a very negative approach of how this is the end of the world and we're all going to, end, we're never going to have a client again because of this relationship.
Yeah.
Clearly,
Even
that's
some of
ridiculous.
the, big important people at some of the reporting tools and stuff were out there saying this is the end of the world for accountants and bookkeepers. It's completely self-serving because they're worried about it being the end of the world of their reporting tool.
Yeah, which is more likely, right? Like there's this really puts a question mark on those add-on tools, doesn't it? It
Yeah.
becomes a why do I need an add-on tool when I've got this cool little um announcement here. So, what's your thoughts on this one? You're now
First
more in
of
this
all,
Zero
what
camp.
baffles me here, and what is I find very interesting here, is this announcement from Zero is identical to the announcement Intuit made not that long ago, literally
Yeah.
2-3 months ago.
Yeah.
Intuit announced a partnership with Claude AI, or the parent company. It didn't seem to get any traction on social media or any of this negativity buzz that Zero seems to have created, which I question the reach of the QuickBooks announcement, etc. I find it very interesting that two similar announcements get one got no traction as such, and the other one's got a lot of both positive and negative. Like, it's really stirred up the pot on LinkedIn with people going,
What's that
"Oh,
positive?
this is the end of the world," or "Oh, you know, it's only the end of the world for those of you that don't use AI." So I didn't see the same reaction out of the QuickBooks announcement. So whether it didn't have a huge reach in the UK, or I don't know. But yeah, I mean, overall though, I'm very happy with this. Like, once I get a connector into Zero, and like, I think what the way we all need to look at this is Zero and QuickBooks and people like that are not going to build connectors into ChatGPT, Claude, etc., unless they are confident of the security around
100%.
that integration.
Yeah.
So by these companies doing these connections officially, that is in its own way, they're self-certing the security parameters that we're going to be exposed to. Fantastic news, because we're not experts on that. It's not us that are best placed to understand that security.
Definitely.
Secondly, the way we need to look at these people like QuickBooks, Sage, etc., is they are wealth of data. Now, each product's kind of spinning off its own AI to do kind of credit control or whatever it's doing. But actually, if you take that wealth of data at a transactional level and plug in a tool like Claude or ChatGPT, the potential for the outcomes from that are phenomenal. And the time in which it will do it, like, it might have taken us 3 days to do a cash flow forecast at a transactional level for 3 years based on the last 3 years worth of data or something. Claude will have it done in 20 minutes whilst you're doing something else with making a coffee or something. So I see this as a huge opportunity to. It's like OCR technology. I keep going back to that. Everyone said OCR technology, receipt capture technology, was the end of the bookkeeper. No. It just re-engineered how we spent our time. And all we did was we went from doing low value work to higher value work. So if I can do an accurate cash flow forecast based on transactional history in 20 minutes, and then I can spend an hour having a conversation with the client about it, and I could do 4 or 5 of those a day as a business model, that makes sense.
100%. Yeah.
So yeah, no, I'm excited by this announcement. I just want them to get on with it. Like, Intuit made their announcement. There's no connector yet. I mean, I'd like to hope that we're going to start seeing these connectors actually appear, instead of promoting we've got a partnership and then having to wait weeks, months for any kind of release, basically. So yeah, I mean, what are your thoughts on the announcement?
I feel like I think I know why there was less chatter around the Intuit one versus the Zero announcement, and that's because no. The reason is because from an Intuit point of view, this is just a choice, right? Like, we've got the ChatGPT connector. This was a Claude connector, and then there's the QuickBooks have already got Intuit Assist, right? So they've already got their own internal version that is already doing so much more than what the competitors are doing. This is just giving choice to the end user, and that's why there was less chatter, because you choose to use it or you don't choose to use it, right? It's simple as that. What I think is significant about the Zero one is this is an elevation of what they've currently got. This is adding functionality and solutions and technology that Zero currently can't do. Like their AI equivalent hasn't got the capabilities to do this, right? Without having to offload it. And I think that's, to me, that's like the interesting element here. And this is why, from a Zero point of view, suddenly there's conversations and everything else because they've never had this before. This is a whole new world to them. Where in the Intuit world, if you don't choose to turn this on, then you can just use Intuit Assist, right? You've already got that functionality. So I feel like
Are
that
you
to
trying to
me,
tell me that Claude AI and Intuit Assist have got feature parity?
pretty in terms of what the relationship and what functionality that the announcement and everything to do. Yeah, what Claude AI said that they can do with it with the product announcement. So same with the Chat GPT one, right? What the press release and what the functionality of that connection is exactly what Intuit AI can already do, and I've got proof of it, right? I'll do videos on, well, if I asked it to do here and do here and do here, I've already done a video where I said, oh, blah blah blah, can we do this? And I won't ruin the video, but blah blah blah, can I do this? And I did it in Intuit Assist and Jack's Chat GPT, and and I think that's all I used in fairness. And then came out with Intuit Assist and Chat GPT coming out with sense and coming out with information and helpfulness. And Jack's, we know, was just
Yeah.
not able to do that, right? And that's fine. Like they've built a tool that is a tick box exercise that some end users find really useful, but realistically it doesn't quite do what we know is capable of. Whereas this new connection will completely outshine that, like completely, like do so much more for them and for good, right? And we're pro this, like positive, that this connection's coming into play. Whereas again, in the Intuit world, yeah, okay, there might be a little bit extra here and a little bit extra there, but it's all going to be minute changes and minute things. This is like Apple versus, Windows versus Mac sort of thing. They can pretty much do the same thing, but one does one bit better and one does a little bit better from here there. Feature parity to a point, whereas the Zero, I think there's no gulf of it, right? And I think that's where the conversations are coming from, because that's where the scariness comes from, isn't it? It's suddenly Zero's doing way more than it could ever do. Suddenly Zero's been able
I
to do
suppose
all.
there's also an angle here of it's only Claude and ChatGPT can only do what they can do if the APIs allow access and allow the data that we need to see. So this should spark, hopefully, some new API wars where they're constantly trying to improve their APIs so that we've got these tools can do what we want them to do.
Agreed. Yeah. And it got to become two-way at some point, right? Like,
if
very
QuickBooks
much
doesn't improve its API, then we're going to be reliant on Intuit Assist because it's the only way to get the data, because Intuit Assist can see all the data. Claude, whoever they plug in on the other end through that API, won't see as much as Intuit Assist sees potentially. So we're going to need improvements to the APIs.
And accountability wise, they kind of promise that by making it a chargeable API now. So our expectation is that those APIs are going to appear and that data is going to be less gatekeeped, and we've got to keep them accountable to that, right? If they're going to charge for access to their maybe API, same as Zero, then unfortunately, as much as they probably don't want this, they've got to start doing it. But at least they're doing it in partnership with them now. So there is a two-way street that's gonna both parties should benefit of this. That's the whole point of a partnership, right? So yeah, we should see those gates open. We should see those APIs become into play. Maybe they'll only be locked to the partners, but is that fair? Is that not? That's for another discussion for another date, right? But the expectation is, as a partner, they should see these opening up. Quick one on ChatGPT, just while we're talking about API. Wasn't it interesting that they ended the Disney partnership? That's gone. So Sora, which is the video generation tool, that's gone. Isn't this a bit of a worry where we always talk about our Zero and our QuickBooks and having that fight, right? And you've just mentioned there this API war and everything else like that, right? Am I starting to see that OpenAI versus the Claude one it's getting worrying that some features are just completely being turned off. And what worries me about that particular conversation is that was a partnership. So that's the same as the Intuit and Zero partnership, right? If these partnerships fail, doesn't that ultimately mean that we've got to start paying more for those services? Because they've got to make the bottom line work somehow, right? And if they've just had this big chunk of money being taken away from them because of a failed partnership, isn't this kind of going, we're going to see a very different approach to monetization because these because I say little, because these major partnerships have started to break down. That's my concern, and that's why I think in the future of all this looks rosy. But if they don't make these partnerships work, we're the ones who are going to foot the bill for it. And I think that's when it's going to become very, very difficult for us to kind of justify it sometimes going forward.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think so. In this case, Sora has been turned off. Yes. Can you do a lot of what you can in just ChatGPT normal conversations now that you used to be able to do in Sora? Is it more of a migrate? It's all in one HUD now potentially. I know the reason Disney is kind of wanted to pull out of this is because it's causing them headaches. So, like if you look at Star Wars, for example, YouTube is flooded with 15, 20-minute, up to 2-3 hour long Star Wars fan videos and films. And they've used apps like Sora to develop these videos.
Yeah.
And the overall reaction from the public is, if Joe Blogs can do this in his room, how are Disney making such a rubbish job and taking so long to do everything in their studios? So like, I think, Disney's probably found, they thought they had a good way in here, and they've realized that actually it's causing them more headache than it's worth.
The partnership.
But as I say, I think, because can you remember generating an image originally? That was a separate like app in ChatGPT that you had to go in, whereas now you just tell it in a conversation, a normal chat window, create this image, and it does it, and it probably does it better than the standard. So I don't think we're going to see a loss of functionality here. I think it's just been absorbed into the general chat option.
Yeah.
Like Claude of chat and co-work and code. I wouldn't be surprised if they all amalgamate over the next year or two into just one platform.
It makes sense,
where
right?
It will choose which algorithm and which code base and stuff to use based on your request.
Yeah, and there was news, wasn't there? OpenAI have said that they're going to have the similar. They're having a super app being built for the Mac, haven't they? It's the Atlas and ChatGPT and another function, the code functionality, all in one app. So that, like you said, so we're in one ecosystem, don't have to jump around. I get that. I love that approach. My concern here is these partnerships, I think, are crucial for just people like you and me being able to have affordability of this sort of technology, right? Like they need to make these partnerships work. Okay, this was one, they'll learn from it, they'll move on, they'll find another one. The Intuit one and all those sort of ones, hopefully, is where they're going to put their resources into going forward. But I do fear that if they don't kind of get a hold of this, they don't make these partnerships work, and they don't learn from it and everything else, we're the ones who are going to suffer, because it could easily be priced out of our range, or at least we're going to have a real look at our model to be able to support using these services going forward, right? Which I don't think is in anyone's best interest. All right, last topic of the day: TaskCalc announced integration to Workiro. Well, I was right first time, right?
Yeah.
And Save File and Engager goes live this week. So cool little integration, this one. Functionality that I wasn't shouting for, but now I've seen kind of the functionality and everything else, I'm kind of a little bit interested in what this functionality can do for us. But talk us through it. Like, where do you see this playing in the whole kind of scope for it? Is it something you're looking at for On Point? Go for it.
So it's not something I'll be using in On Point, so Work Hero, but it's something Andy Wainwright's using in his firm, and he's got 2.5 times bigger firm than mine. So it's there for more. So it's similar to things like Smart Vault, where they've got a dedicated file, client portal file platform, email capture tool with e-signing and stuff all built in. It's more advanced. It's normally around £35 per user per month. Does a small firm need it? No.
Yep.
But the larger firms with multiple offices and like bigger and bigger staff teams, it's, you know, that where Engager does a lot of what they're looking for, but they need a little bit more, or TaxCalc does a lot of what TaxCalc, like Communication Center and stuff, does a lot of what they look for, but they're looking for a bit more central place. Workero, Smart Vault, stuff like that is a really good solution for these larger firms.
Nice.
So yeah, so this has been in the works for a few months now, the integration with them. So that's all going live. It's basically live, I believe. By the end of this week, everyone will have access to that if they're using Workero. And yeah, the ability to save documents from TaxCalc into Engager, it's being started rolling out Friday with the TaxCalc updates. So this will be finished by, well, probably the end of tomorrow. Everyone will have access to it. And that's the ability to go into TaxCalc, see a set of accounts and go save to Engager. And then that appears in your client's folders, ready for you to notify the client and send an e-signing request and stuff if you want. So yeah, just more the save to Engager bit. That's a bit that we promised would come out with our integration. So the fact we've done that in the first year of the partnership is fantastic.
Nice.
And the integration with Workero is something larger firms have been asking for a while. So we're pleased to get that out. The guys at TaxCalc have done a phenomenal job with that, and the functionality is very similar to what's been there for Smart Vault and other solutions for a while now. So it's just another platform that larger firms are using that we now support.
Interesting. They did reach out, full disclosure, on the Ask Accountant Network, and we will be looking at speaking to him at one of the upcoming grid walks. So keep an eye out for that one. See what they are. I mean, do we know if they've got any cool merch or anything we should be looking out
Workero,
for?
I haven't seen their merch, so
is it is it as good as the Vinnies? You know what I mean? Like that, to me, that is the number one merch.
That's your favorite bit of merch at the moment, isn't it? Free
It
agent.
It is. And I was gutted because I couldn't make it to the York. I think it was York roadshow last week. I was in the area as well. That night I went to York to go watch a comedian called Mike Wozniak. So I was literally going to York that day, but couldn't make it in time for the actual roadshow, which was a shame. But no, this sounds like look, it's one of those pain points, isn't it, that we're always trying to find solutions for. We're always wanting to find ways to make things easier. Document management is a pain in the backside. Let's be completely frank about it. I know even the big boys like PwCs and Kaplan's, KPMGs and everything else, they struggle with finding the right solution, right? They try and build their own and everything else. So
Virtual Cabinet is the other solution that I was trying to think of and I couldn't remember the name of. So Virtual Cabinet, Workero, Smart Vault, all that kind of those kind of advanced portal, document management, email management tools are it's in amongst those.
Because isn't it isn't that just a rebrand? Isn't that Virtual Cabinet anyway?
It's a set. There's two versions of their product. There's a
okay.
Virtual Cabinet, and then there's the new Workero version. So we now integrate to both.
Makes sense. Brilliant. Cool. Let's do a final bit just because I thought this was funny. Just to really, really go down on the AI element side of things. There's Chat GPT, we all know and love. What about Tax GPT? So there's this new solution that's been kind of tainted. That's been touted on social medias at the moment called Tax GPT, AI tax preparation for modern firms. So they basically, it's US only really, so there's not really much that we can kind of benefit from kind of going into us. The website has this nice little annual saving that you could have from your normal PR element that could be done there. But I did find it very, very funny how they kind of built this whole, again, they call it tax GPT. Is this unfair for me to say this? Maybe, maybe not. But isn't this something we could just build ourselves if you know, use some of the kind of online guides to building your own chat GPTs in ChatGPT? I mean, there's a question mark now. Should we be on ChatGPT or should we be migrating to Claude? Right. So maybe all this is irrelevant anyway. But what
So,
ChatGPT was always good at was this element, right, where we can customize it, we can build it ourselves. Daz built as one. I've built multiple ones for our firm, right, and one of the solutions I've got does exactly what Tax GPT does, right? But that's me spending time, investing resources, all that sort of stuff, money, and all that sort of stuff to get to the point where it's ready. This is off the shelf, ready to go.
yeah.
Boom, sort of
And
idea.
I'd also so we need to be careful of hallucination, and when these are built separately from everything else and they don't have access to the internet and stuff, that
Yeah,
reduces hallucination. And it's also maintaining it. Like tax rules change in the UK quite frequently, so
yeah,
it's maintaining the accuracy of that database that you're running these questions through. So yeah, I mean, because there is a UK version of this called Tax Essentials, which is very good. It's been fed all of the data, all the cases and stuff like that, and it's a safe space. And something that happens in Tax Essentials that you can't necessarily do in yours, well, you could, but you'd have to remember to do it, is part of the risk is you ask a question out of your bot or whatever you're calling it, out
yeah,
of your
yeah,
agent. It remembers that question, it remembers the outcome, it remembers the further questions, and that can lead to further hallucination.
yeah.
So what you really need to do is tell it never to remember a conversation that you have with that agent, so that it keeps the data pure and
Mm,
cleansed.
mm.
Where so Tax Essentials does that by default. It just doesn't remember the previous inquiries, so there's no risk of it tainting future responses.
Yeah.
So yeah, there are some technical challenges here.
Yeah.
Um,
And I think it's a use case, isn't it? Like I'm not really seeing this as an opportunity to come out with, ask it questions, it comes out with answers. Like I see some benefit to that, but ultimately that's what we're here to do, isn't it? Right? Yeah, yeah, we can ask it questions and we can make a judgment call if we think it's accurate or not. Like that should be what we add to the value. What I see these tools more than anything doing is just speeding up that whole reviewing process and helping that reviewing process through, right? Like
yeah,
what my tool does really well is you feed it, the information and it'll come back and it'll go, right, I've cross-checked registered office against company's house. Yeah, that's
yeah,
correct. And goes does that checklist for me, right? Like that I
yeah,
would have to do. But then citates where it's found that information. So we can't have hallucinations because it's giving me that,
yeah.
it's telling me where it's come from and
Right.
stuff like
So
that.
you're not using it as like the tax guides and the
No,
encyclopedia.
no.
You're using it as a preparing sense checking tool. Yeah, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
and it just means that when I come to review a job, first of all, I've got a nice tool to kind of start off with of, yeah, okay, all that stuff's been done. Then I can go, right, well, that bit's done. The bread and butter stuff's kind of done for me. Right, what can I do to add value now? Like, right, I'm happy that's there, that's there. Right. Now I've actually bought back some time to go and do what I should be doing, right? Like, oh, is there a better way we could be setting up this company? And could we be looking at pension contributions, all that sort of stuff where typically I've run out of time, right? I've just gone through and I've checked all the bits that I've had to check and I've gone through all this and then I'm rushing at the end to try and add the value, what I
Yeah.
use this for and what I think this tool was designed to be, this sorry, tax
Tax.
GPT, what I see there, like aiming and what they should really be selling this as is, right, let's streamline this review process, let's streamline that sort of stuff. Let's give back time to you as the reviewer so that then we can start adding some benefit to it. And that's where I see it. And again, yeah, we can build all this in ChatGPT now. It's been done. I've got proof and puddings on there. But is this where people can just kind of rebuild that for us, and we buy it and we go through there? Oh, I don't know.
And
I don't know.
The less tech savvy people out there, they're going to rely on tools like this to keep themselves in line with people like yourself who are out there building it yourselves. So
yeah, and it's back to the old days of Excel and buying dashboards off people, isn't it? Like, yes, you could build it yourself, or you could buy a pre-made one, and it's that sort of argument, isn't it?
Exactly.
Cool. All right then. Kirsty says, "Oh, that's cool. Save to engager. Nice. Right, Jan, anything exciting coming up this week?"
No, just Barcelona on Friday, but no, just a week of productivity, working from home, lots of calls and meetings, and hopefully getting some progress made on various projects that I've got going on at the moment.
Nice. I've already explained my crazy week, but that's the way the cookie crumbles, isn't it? You can't complain about progress. That's what I keep telling myself, and it helps me sleep at night, right? Even if I am maybe lying to myself at that point,
even if it's through exhaustion.
Yeah. All right, well, thank you so much for watching, commenting, liking, all that sort of stuff. Please do go and watch the grid walk. I think it's a very good grid walk, but again, I am biased. I still feel like it's our best content we do, and I feel like the more people who can watch it, like it, all that sort of stuff would be very, very, very much appreciated. My name's been Patrick. Thank you all for watching. That's been Johann Gorey, and we will see you in 2 weeks' time for a live one. But next week we will be there. We'll try and be in comments and all that sort of stuff and interact that way. But yeah, we'll see you after the Easter break. So it's a goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me.